Da-da-da. Da-da. Da-da. And on his horse, he's like, he's going,
It's this music. The
The one with the nose thing, you're like, oh,
He's the one he punched. Yeah.
It would have just go down to the bottom,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
Ha-ha. You hear
The amount of blood sacks they must have used to get.
Hello, welcome to Screen Time, the channel where we like to watch movies from our past and re-experience them, or watch new movies afresh. And if you like this kind of content, please feel free to like and subscribe. And this week,
Yes.
we watched The Untouchables.
Yes. The Untouchables from 1987, and this was directed by Brian De Palma, who I love. I love his stuff. And the cast, we have Kevin Costner as Elliot Ness. We've got Robert De Niro. What a cast!
It's
actually.
a great cast for this.
So Robert De Niro for Al Pacino. We've got Andy Garcia. I can't remember what character he plays.
He plays,
Giuseppe.
George Stone.
George Stone.
Or
Yes.
Giuseppe.
Is it Giuseppe?
It's Giuseppe.
It's Giuseppe. Yeah.
Giuseppe, yeah.
And then we've got Sean Connery as well playing Malone. And the other star of this is Giorgio Armani, who did all the costumes. Yeah, it was super
okay.
cool.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
Ennio Morricone, who did the music. It was stunning music, isn't it?
You hear that music right from the start,
Yeah.
and it just hits,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
it's
hits
a
as
really
soon as you-
great
Yeah.
a really great marriage, isn't it? I
Yeah.
think of all of that. So, if you haven't seen The Untouchables, the plot is it's set in the 1930s in Prohibition, Chicago, and it's rival gangs competing for control of the city's billion-dollar empire of illegal alcohol, and then in comes Elliot Ness to stop this.
Special Agent of the Treasury Department. Ness? Thank you, Chief.
Which brings him into direct conflict with Al Capone and
everything that comes
everything
with
that comes with that, basically. Yeah.
I want him dead. I want his family dead. I want his house burnt to the ground. I want to go to the middle of the night. I want to piss on his ashes.
So, I mean, you've probably seen this quite a few times.
I haven't watched it in a good number of years. When it came out, I saw it at the cinema. I saw it in Burbank, California, with friends, and this was like obviously 1987, was it? Yeah, so a long time ago. And I remember it was like, whoa! It's just like it was really visceral, and
Yes.
it's one of those movies that I think still works now, but I think sometimes the style almost kind of like is the style slightly dated, the way it's filmed? I don't know. We can talk about that. We can talk about that. So we start off and there's
I mean, it really gives you an idea. Sorry, I was just thinking about one of the scenes, which is very early on.
Yeah.
Whereas it's the little girl, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But I mean, there's a contrast at the beginning because you basically start off with an overview of Al Capone being shaved.
That's right. Oh.
And there's the lettering comes up explaining the situation of the scenario of where we are. It's establishing it's 1930s, and it's all this wealth, and he's been shaved, and immediately there's a bit where the press are interviewing him and they ask him something and he does this, and then the poor barber accidentally nicks him.
It's all right.
And there's automatically
the face
the
of the barber.
The face of the barber, absolute terror that he's caused any injury.
Yeah.
And so immediately you're set up, there's a setup of what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, what he's like. And when you see that fear, you just think, oh my goodness, you would have a reaction for quite the smallest thing.
Yeah,
and you're very dangerous. Basically, you're in a very dangerous environment.
Yeah, this man's very dangerous, yeah.
And it's great. It's great in a way because he is saying that he isn't violent.
There is violence in Chicago, of course, but not by me and not by anybody I employ, and I'll tell you why, because it's not good business.
He's actually talking about violence at that moment.
Yeah, he is.
Which then, to the reporters, and obviously you've seen that reaction, and then it cuts to...
It's a real contrast as well. There's all this wealth, and then suddenly you get to poor high street, sort of, little cars going past 1930s. And there's this little girl. You think the whole thing's not associated in any way. It's
Exactly.
This little girl goes to the shop, the corner shop, with a little basket to get some eggs, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a can of
She's
something.
got a little milk or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she goes in there and she sort of interrupts a little conversation going on. There's a guy who's trying to peddle alcohol to the cellar. And he says, no, I don't want to buy any more of your stuff. It doesn't taste good. And he's like, oh, it's okay, mate. Don't worry about it, you know.
Don't worry about it, Pops. We won't come back.
Then he starts talking to the little girl. How's your mum? And then the little girl's watching the man leave. And then she sees another man. I'm going to call him the guy in the white suit.
Yes.
It's easier, isn't it?
Yes, with the very
He's got
severe
very
bone
severe
structure.
bone structure. Yeah. And he leaves this case and walks out. And the little girl, being, fantastic little girl, says, oh, you've forgotten your case? You've forgotten your case. And she grabs the case and...
Hey, mister! Wait! Mister, wait! You forgot your drink!
And then there's typical of, this director, there's a very quick cut where she's standing there and suddenly you get this explosion from the bag.
Yeah.
And it's such a shock.
It's a shock because not many movies go there.
Not with a child.
No. And as soon as that happens and it's right at the start of the movie, you just think, oh,
here we are.
This movie's going to be quite a hard movie.
Yeah.
There's going to be definite hard moments in
Yes,
this.
absolutely. So then you're sort of introduced, again, it's really weird because you have the Al Capone opening, you have this shock event, and then you go back to another calm moment where you're introduced.
The music is
it's really romantic.
It's really romantic and
beautiful.
beautiful. There's a lot of the same sort of setup, framing in this movie, where you have like a central pole or wall or table or something, and you're able to see two sides of the screen.
Are you talking about the double focus?
No, it's just the framing. You're looking into one room or looking into another, and you see two things happening at the same time. And this happens right from this moment.
Yeah.
And you have the wife in the kitchen, and she's making her husband's lunch, putting a little lunchbox together and writing a little note, and you see her folding it up. And then you have Elliot Ness, who we realise, sitting and reading the paper, and there's the link because it says about a 10-year-old.
Yes, being killed.
And
yes,
she
right.
moves, and as she moves, then the camera chooses one room to go into and follows her. And you can see there's children's toys and things. So it's a family.
Yeah.
It's a family
It ties it
environment.
together, doesn't it?
And you realise, well, this is going to mean something to them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it introduces you, as you say, to Elliot Ness.
Absolutely. Now, Elliot Ness has been brought in to basically
sort things out.
Sort things out.
The Department of the Treasury has inaugurated a special program to deal with the flow of illegal liquor and the violence which it creates.
Al Capone runs this business of selling and threatening and anyway, so he's got Chicago like this, hasn't he?
Yeah.
The problem is that alcohol is one of those things that it infiltrates everywhere. Even people that are trying to do a good deed. I mean, when you think about Prohibition was a bit of a daft law anyway, to try and ban alcohol that is in such an established society. It's like you're bound to get people that are going to not, and just have a sneaky one on the side. And that basically is the world he comes into, because he is very law abiding. He says, okay, whether I like to drink is not even the thing here. The thing is, it's against the law, and we are going to uphold the law.
And as we are going to enforce the law, we must do first by example.
So he comes into this district, into this police district, and even the very first press room, you've got the police chief introducing him, and he's got this kind of like twitch that he does, the police chief, and it's like, oh, I don't,
the captain.
He's the captain, yeah. And then Elliot Ness is automatically like targeted with all these questions. Do you take a drink? Do you do this? Do you do this? From the press?
Negative.
It's very negative.
It's very like, oh, here we go. It's
here
another
we go
one of these.
again.
Yeah, it's another one of these setups.
You can tell that this has happened before, where a specialist or a person has come in to try and solve this problem, and it's never worked because obviously they've either been paid off or something like that.
Another
This is just another showpiece program, keep the news. What do you think about Prohibition, Mr. Ness?
Do you drink, Mr. Ness?
It paints the picture brilliantly.
Yeah.
It paints the
It's
picture
just,
really,
it feels
really
like a
well.
setup.
Yeah.
He gets given a team.
Yes, he gets
So
given
at
a
this
team.
point,
Yeah.
he then gets given a team of officers, and he tells the officers as well, I don't care what you've done before,
Yeah.
but I don't want any of you to drink.
Yeah.
And then they go off to do, they've
get a tip-off.
received some information,
Mhm.
and they've been told that, we're going to do our first raid, and if you want to be involved in something exciting, this is your moment.
Yeah.
And we're going to go and crash and raid this warehouse, and anything that has a red leaf on,
Yeah.
we're gonna
It's
get
like the
it.
maple leaf raid,
Yeah.
isn't it?
A very large shipment of Canadian whiskey has arrived in Chicago. So I hope that you've signed on for some action, gentlemen, because you're going to get it.
And so they get set up, they go to this location, they sort of scout it. He ends up with a journalist
Yeah.
in tow.
Yeah.
Drop it. I can't. It'll break. Mr. Ness.
They go into this warehouse. And what I found quite interesting with this, and I mean, I won't lead it into the next scene, but it's very dark where they are. So it's quite, you've got all of that sort of mystery, because it is a mysterious scene.
Yeah.
You're going in and you're not quite sure what you're going into. But you do get a sense of like world around them, because there's a sound of a train getting louder and louder.
Yeah.
And so you get a sense that, okay, they are in a city. And so anyway, they do this raid, and it's
the build up to this raid was very sort of like heroic, and and the music comes in. It's really sort of
and what's his when they charge? He says something
let's make this moment moment count or something. It's really heroic.
Yeah.
It's really like. And of course, you kind of suspect that it's not going to go their way, and then the photographer is there and manages, and they keep that reveal quite a long time. He smashes open one of the boxes, one of the crates, and it looks like it's the neck of a bottle.
It does, yeah.
And as he pulls it out, he pulls it further out, and it's not until he turns it that you realise it's this parasol that opens up, and then the photograph is taken. So it's been a setup. This whole thing is an absolute setup, and it makes its way onto the front pages. But what it does do is that it introduces in some ways Eliot Ness with Malone.
Yes.
Because after this first kind of like downtread of emotion, he's walking across the bridge, Eliot Ness, and he's standing by the railings of the bridge, and he's looking at the note his wife has written for him.
She's proud.
I'm so proud of you, and he just scrunches up and throws it in the river.
Now, what do you think you're doing?
Sean Connery as Malone is a cop, and says, "What are you doing? Don't be littering." And then he reaches for his thing, and basically they had this conversation.
Yeah.
You're a Treasury officer.
Yeah, how do you know that? I just told you I was.
Who would claim to be that? Who was not?
They had this conversation, and
he just learns about him. He's a cop, he finds him intriguing, doesn't he? And that's kind of where it ends. But I do find that scene quite interesting, though, because, well, first of all, I find the music, it's really sad.
Yeah.
For something that's happened where, he wasn't successful, I find the level of emotion in this music a lot more than it
needs to be.
Yeah, well, in a way, but I mean, it's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong, and I'm not criticizing it at all.
No.
But it makes me want to cry when I hear it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. And it's weird that it does. It makes it incredibly emotional. But so you have that music, but then also in that scene, it's just the two of them. And I think it points to an element of his isolation, because you don't see anybody else around in this town, which could make you feel like, well, it's quite a dangerous town, because then if there's ever one person, then you think, oh, that's a bit scary.
Yeah.
So there's an element of that, but there's also the train that you hear in the scene before the raid. The train is very near and very loud. And then in that scene where it's just with Malone and him, you hear like a horn of a train, and it's very distant.
Had a rough day on the job.
Ah. Are you going home now?
And it kind of makes you feel his solitude.
Yeah, okay.
And the fact that it made me feel like, oh, he's really on his own. Like
Yeah,
he's come to this town, or he's come to this city, he doesn't really know much about it.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
this raid has gone wrong.
Yeah.
And suddenly that drive and that energy and that big train is now really distant in the back.
That's very good.
And it felt like it connected those two moments together. And that is the sorrow that he's feeling now. And that's why.
Yeah.
Because it's that. You
Okay,
know?
I
That
like
was a
that.
link. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, it's a load. It could be a load of rubbish.
What a load of mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, you're like, oh, she's talking a load of
What the hell? It's just a movie. No, but it's but again, it's like that shot that he takes for the parasol. I love the fact that the next morning the newspaper is dumped on the sidewalk and this busboy picks it up, and you get this fantastic establishing shot of Capone and his inner workings. And the guy comes in, he brings the paper in, the paper gets put onto this breakfast table.
Yeah.
The guy comes walking up the stairs. Room service comes up the stairs, and then he stops by the ledger. The guy who's writing up the ledgers, the guy who will be very important to the story, is sitting outside his room, going through the paperwork, going through the sums, and puts the dossier on the tray as well. And then the tray gets picked up again, all to this fantastic score.
Yeah.
And then they move through that into the inner sort of like sanctum, where he's in bed and he picks up the newspaper and he's like chortling at his
failure. The director uses that technique quite a lot in the movie.
Yeah.
You have characters that lead you to look outside of things.
Yeah.
And there's a few moments where the characters are doing that.
Yeah.
And it's a technique that I loved that.
Yeah.
I loved that. You're
also,
walking with them. They're drawing you round.
Yeah. Brian De Palma does also a lot of this particular thing. It's called like a dual focus, where he's got a lens on the camera that can focus a long way away and very close up, so everything is in focus, but right down the middle is a bit of a blur because the lens obviously, and there's several scenes that do it well. It's all the way through the movie actually. The scene in the opera, you've got a real close-up of the opera singer singing, but it's still focused in focus of him in the box watching. There's a scene where Elliot Ness is talking to Malone in the church, and you've got him in focus and Malone is there. You've got that shot.
If you open the ball on these people, Mr. Nash, you must be prepared to go all the way.
What were you saying about the camera, though? You were saying something else.
We follow the characters.
We follow the cameras, yes, exactly.
Following the
and
characters.
That's another thing that he does. So watch out for that, because he does it in all of his movies. Every movie. So he did Mission Impossible. They do it in Mission Impossible. He did, go back through all of his movies, and he loves that shot where you've got
interesting
difference of focus. It's really, really cool. So it's a really signature thing that he does.
So yes, so you have that element. So I think then it sort of gives Elliot some energy to sort of change things around a little bit.
Yeah.
And he goes and he seeks out Malone, and he goes round to Malone's house and has that conversation with him and tries to get him on board to help him.
Yes.
Because he doesn't trust anybody else.
Yes.
You want to stay on the beat? You do that. If you'd like to come with me, I need your help.
Do you know what I found interesting, though, watching this again, is that the establishing shot of Malone's house, they really linger on that. It starts off, you see that it's the Racine Avenue, and the shot is really long, and he's walking up, and it's like, Racine Avenue.
You realise it's on a corner.
You're right on a corner. You know where he is. You know where he lives. You know the house number. It's this house on the corner. And it's so well established that you don't even need to know that later on in the movie when an event happens, it's like, oh, Malone lives here.
Or, an address.
Or
when
an
you see
address
an
that you see an
address.
address.
Yeah.
So there's all these little hints that are...
It's funny because you don't, because I mean, we sit and I sit and I'm sort of analysing and making notes, but when you just watch the movie, all of these things would go into your mind. And
It's
you
subliminal
absorb it.
almost.
Yeah,
It's like it's
very
giving you
clever.
information that you can recollect
Yeah.
later,
And you don't need
but
to
you
be
don't even
told
know
it.
that you're seeing it. You're watching it and going, okay, yeah. But that scene right in front of you as you're going, as the camera moves down, and then he
I had a
walks
bit of a
up.
geeky moment there.
Did you? Why?
Because I suddenly thought of what's the baseball game? The baseball film
with Madonna.
Yeah.
A League of Their Own.
A League of Their Own. One of the teams was Racine.
Yes, we'll have to watch that movie.
Yeah, sorry.
It's
yeah,
a great movie.
But I did.
Yeah.
I had a bit of a moment there.
Yeah.
So he goes and he speaks to Malone and he says, I need someone like you. And he's not on board straight away, is he?
Mr. Ness, I wish I'd met you 10 years and 20 pounds ago.
He's kind of close to retirement.
Yeah.
He just wants to
Yeah.
not cause any issues.
But then he helps him.
Yeah.
He helps him find a suitable person. And this is when we're introduced to Giuseppe or George Stone, as he says it.
Where are you from, Stone?
From the South Side.
Stone. George Stone.
And then there's another moment here because if you notice when they go into the shooting range, there's a desk in the middle of the frame. And then you can see through a room on one side and then you can see the shooting range on the other. And again, it's one of these things where you sort of go, you choose one side.
Yeah.
But I love the fact because you feel like you can sort of peer around the corner.
Around at stuff, yeah.
And so that happens quite a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a lot of very sort of locked shots
Yeah.
and then we'll pan.
Yes.
And then we'll pan.
Yes, because there's a good reveal as well. There's a bit where he gets threatened. He's outside his house, and one of the gangsters says, "Oh, is this your family? Oh, you should take care of your family." Freaks him out, and he goes running in. And there's like a great shot where the camera is on the bed of the little girl, and he comes running in, and the bed is empty.
There's Elliot.
And then the camera does a slight shift to the right, and the little girl is at her desk, and you're like, oh, okay,
yeah.
that's all right. So he does that a lot. It's like this kind of very slight pan left or right on a lock shot.
Yeah.
It's great.
There was one thing that I did notice, and I'm not sure, I noticed it sort of halfway. So I wonder if I'm correct.
Okay.
But when we see Al Capone, each time we go to Al Capone and he's talking to the journalist, we're always on a lower step to him and we're looking up at him and he's talking down and whatever.
I'm gonna tell you something. Somebody messes with me, I'm gonna mess with him.
When he's talking on that round table, that very vicious moment that he has with his baseball bat.
Yeah.
Another moment where you get to know his character.
Yeah.
Again, he's standing, we're lower than him when we're looking up at him. And there's loads of moments where he's sort of towering above us and we're sort of, this is the moment in the movie where you're below him.
You're subservient to him, yeah.
And he's the powerful one.
What?
Easy.
You talk to me like that in front of my son? You and your family.
And then, whenever we're with Ness, we're always front on. We're always front on with him the whole time. And then, when we get to the courts, and the reveal of about judges, and let's switch jury. Suddenly, we're not under him anymore. We are flat on to Capone.
So his power's gone.
And his power has gone.
You? Order in the court. Order.
And I think we're actually a little bit looking up at Ness. And
yes, okay.
At the end.
Never stop fighting till the fight is done.
What do you say? What do you say?
I said never stop fighting till the fight is done.
I just found that really
Yeah.
clever. But I was like, is it? Maybe it's something to watch and see.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, everything's got to have you're communicating to the viewer a way that you're meant to feel. I mean, what I found very interesting is that there's a lot of ultra violence in this movie, but it's very specific. the movie itself is almost comic book in some ways. The way that some of it is handled, some of the violence is so ultra violent that it's almost comic book, particularly when it's Ness and his group inflicting the violence. There's a scene on a bridge, and the I can't remember. He's the tax guy with the glasses.
Yes,
and his bullet,
Oscar.
Oscar. Yes, his gun runs out of bullets, and there's a guy behind the truck. And there's almost a comedy moment where he goes,
Well, I think there's a reason for that, because the next scene
yes.
is
Let's talk about it.
So I think we're made to really engage with him, because he's been up until, so just before that, they've been traveling in the plane.
Yeah.
He's been very excitable at trying to find ways to get Al Capone.
I mean,
and he's like, we can get him on tax.
They keep saying it all the way through.
Tax, insurance, tax.
Yeah.
If we can establish any payments to him at all, we can prosecute him for income tax evasion.
What?
And Ness is like, well, great, how are we going to do this? I don't know. And he's like, well, just go to bed.
Yeah.
And so you get this sense of this excitable character. And then the next scene is the bridge. And on his horse, he's like, he's going,
I'm gonna come. Get in the car.
Yeah.
I really think in these last couple of scenes, they really hype up the energy of this character and make you really focus in on him. And when he's shooting everyone on the bridge, it's a bit like, you want some, because he wants to get back on what's just happened to Stone.
Stone! I'm okay.
Stone gets injured,
Yeah.
and so he's like, right, you're going to get
Yeah.
it. And the camera is looking at him, and he's just going like that, and then the camera flips around, and then you see the impact, and he's literally blowing people away and having quite a laugh at it.
Yeah.
But it brings out his character, and you really start to engage with this character.
Yes, you do.
And then the next scene, it flips it.
Yeah.
It really hits
It's
you.
yeah.
Really hits you.
I
And
mean-
I think there's a reason for that.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And I think, but also, I think that the violence is in such a sort of dichotomy to what's happening. Like, whenever the violence means something, it's so graphic. Like the scene around the table. Okay, so when he's having that conversation, the previous scene before that, there are Elliot Ness and his group go into the post office, and they smash and go, right, this is a raid, and then there's this music, deedly-dee, and he's like hitting this guy, and sort of he goes, you got a warrant, and he smacks him, and it's comedy. It's like, oh my gosh,
he
ha,
means
ha, ha, ha.
it,
You know,
doesn't he?
it's not. It's almost like a comic book violence.
You got a warrant.
Sure, here's my warrant.
And then it fades and crossfades to this table.
Yeah.
And he's walking around with this bat, because he's talking about baseball, and the baseball doesn't go anywhere unless you're a team, and you can spot the guys like going team.
But they're all kind of going
were
like
go-
that
they-
as he goes behind
Yeah,
them.
it's like,
doesn't
you know. And then he just stands and he pauses behind the guy, and then the violence of this scene, and
The
it's the
reaction.
reactions from the people around the table, like,
He crushes this guy's skull.
yeah, Brian De Palma doesn't shy away from ultra violence and lots of blood. But have you noticed how some of the shots are almost like vignettes? It's like the reveal of what he's done starts off quite close, and then the camera pulls up and pulls up and pulls up, and so that everyone is super still.
Yeah, and you can just see
And
the blood
all you can see is the
gradually
blood
increasing.
moving, and no one is everyone's just absolutely still, and your just eyes are focused on this blood trail traveling across the table.
It's
I mean,
so violent.
so violent. And it's such a shock. You know it's coming, but the bam, the noise.
You
and
don't expect the return of the bat. When he hit him, I thought, okay, but then he goes, and
like,
it's just like,
yeah,
whoa,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the crack of an egg.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their reaction is just,
And there are signature moments like that. And the death of, what's his name?
Oscar. Oscar
Yeah.
Wallace.
Oscar
Yeah.
Wallace.
Oscar Wallace in the lift.
You don't see.
No, but you hear it from
You
a
hear
distance.
the
and
bang.
You know.
Yeah. And you see the aftermath.
Because you've seen the guy with the chiseled jaw again.
Yeah.
Posing as an officer.
As a lift kind of.
Yeah. And you just know something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they come up in a separate lift, all happy.
Yeah.
Because his wife has just given birth to his son.
Yes.
And then suddenly you just hear this boom.
Yeah.
And they've just been told that he's gone down in the surface lift. And this is another moment. They run down the stairwell and the captain leads us out.
Yes, you follow the captain.
You follow the captain and you look out of a window.
Yeah.
And you see the chiseled guy
running
away.
You see the dead body of the cop he's killed to replace himself.
And so he's overlooking and looking down on it all.
And that's your confirmation that he knows what's going on.
Exactly.
He's part of it.
Yeah, exactly.
But then that reveal, you don't actually see what happens, but the aftermath of it is so gory. The interior of this lift, and it's just, and he's had time to write, what is it? Touchable.
When he opens it, you know that you see there's blood, and the camera just does this very slow pan, and you see the guy that they've arrested, and you don't really care. But then you see Touchable, and then they've just sort of like hung him up, and you just think it's just everything about it is just it's so cruel and
then you've got Ennio Morricone's score over the top of it. So I think they play it hard at the beginning to get you used to that theme. Yeah. And then when they use that theme, it's really sells it.
It's really horrible. And their reactions and everything. Because I mean you're used to this core group now.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then moving on, I suppose the main part we've got to talk about is the stairway sequence.
Yes.
Because I think that makes this movie, I think. It's almost a bit of a rip-off because it was the idea of the steps was from a movie called Battleship Potemkin.
Okay.
And it's a silent movie. And there's a whole sequence where there's soldiers at the top of the stairs and there's this woman with a pram.
Right.
And everyone's trying to get down the stairs. And so it's a silent movie, but this is where the inspiration came from. But I think what works with this is that you've got this soundtrack over the top as well.
Yeah, the little lullaby.
Yes.
Yeah, the little, like it's a little mobile.
Yeah, it's almost like one of those wind-up mobile songs. But what's clever about it is that they interject little
with the violin,
deep tones and stuff. Anytime there's bits of threats and stuff. The setup is that they're waiting on the guy who writes the dossier. So the guy who basically has all the information as to where all the money's going, the ledger, is being escorted out of Chicago because obviously Capone is freaking out that they're closing in.
Yeah.
So they know that the train. They're leaving on this train. He's set up at the top of the stairwell and he's brought along Stone.
Stone is somewhere else.
Looking out.
And I mean the clock is very center.
Yeah.
It's like, okay,
we know we're going
for 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, it's very clear.
Yeah, it's very clear. So but it's great, it's beautifully painted because he's there. You've got the clock, you've got the doors, you've got the stairs.
Yeah.
So you know the geometry and the geography of where we are very intensely. And then you introduce these elements that you just think, oh no.
Well, yeah.
Because time is ticking on.
Yeah.
And you've got this woman with two heavy suitcases and this pram, this old 1930s pram with this little baby in it. And she's trying to get up the stairs and there's people coming down the stairs on these marble stairs and they're walking past her. One of them actually steps over a bag to get down the stairs and no one's helping her. So it's this real conflict of him being a family man, seeing the vulnerability of this woman, knowing that the clock is ticking on. He needs to be there to make sure these people arrive, that he's there so we can catch them. And this element has come into the shot and you're like, oh no, what can you do? You can't tell her to go because it might give something away. So he makes a decision to help her.
You're such a gentleman. It's so kind of you to help me.
And the noise of this pram going up the stairs as he's pulling it up, she keeps going, "Oh, you're such a kind man,"
Yes.
blah, 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 blah. And it's
And
all
he's
done
got
in
one hand ready,
yeah.
and he's just pulling it up.
And he's about halfway up the stairs, and then you get the first sight of someone that he recognises going down the stairs. And the whole thing is so
It's quite
tense and
claustrophobic, isn't it? Yeah.
claustrophobic.
The way it starts, you as a viewer, you're kind of looking around with him, aren't you?
Yeah.
And you've got people washing the floor, and then some guy
There's some
comes
fake
in with
outs as
some
well.
with his
Yeah.
spats on, and he
Yeah.
sort of leans up against a pillar, and then you realise he's meeting a girlfriend who's just come off
but
the train.
the focus of the attention
Yeah,
goes on to
because
him.
you're like, is
Oh,
that
that's him,
somebody we
that's
should
him.
care
Yeah,
about,
yeah.
or is it not? And then when they do come in, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
the one with the nose thing, you're like, oh,
He's the one he
suspicious.
punched.
Yeah. You know, he's a dodgy fella.
Yeah.
The way it builds up as well, but that moment.
It's brilliantly done, isn't it? Because it's
is.
almost like you've got three layers.
Yeah.
You've got Elliot Ness and the pram right in the distant shot. In the midground, you've got the people getting in the way.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
You've got like the sailors and stuff. And it's all shot in slow motion.
Yeah.
So you can understand where everything's going, what bullets are going where. And the pram is basically bouncing down the stairs, and these bullets are missing this baby. He is trying to get to the baby, but still try and take out, and it's all done in slow. And then you've got people in the way, so that as bullets are coming through, you've got like this sailor in the midground falling out of shot, and it's just
You're
it's
like, oh,
amazing.
It's carnage.
It's
absolute carnage.
And but it's so brilliantly done, isn't it?
It's really well done. I mean, she's freaking out.
Yeah,
but
she's getting in the way almost.
because she's like, oh my God, my baby. But in the end, it would have just go down to the bottom, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
But
but her jeopardy,
movies.
her jeopardy, you just think, don't be so stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is in the middle of a gunfight.
I mean, you would
so
worry about your
worry.
baby if there was guns being fired
Yeah,
everywhere.
absolutely.
You wouldn't be worried about it. Oh, it'll get down to the bottom, no problem.
But then, of course, Stone comes sliding in,
throws him the extra gun
Yeah.
because he's run out of bullets.
I love that.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's the signature part of the movie, I think. It's like, if you just see that part of the movie, you're hooked in. I think it's
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much more after that as
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah.
it's a very inventive scene.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that makes this movie is the soundtrack, though. I mean, he's
Yeah.
such an amazing composer.
Yeah.
And that drives you.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's so much that elevates this film.
I mean,
think the
when you
costuming
think
and-
what happens to Malone as well, that scene, it's just so emotive.
When
And
you were talking about following a character, that's when that comes into play very well. I mean, you know,
Yes.
the director, again, Brian De Palma, loves doing those first-person shots of someone invading a space.
Yeah.
So you see a guy walking in, and then the camera cuts to his point of view as he's patrolling the house.
Yes.
What's brilliant is that it already establishes that he turns right instead of left and walks and thinks that Malone is over here. And then he goes to the front door and looks out the front door, and there's nothing going on outside the front door. So in your mind, you're like, okay, there's nothing going on out there. And then suddenly he turns around and Malone is this side of the property, and he goes trotting over there. And the switch is brilliant because suddenly Malone is there, and then suddenly it cuts back and you see the murderer. You see the guy, the assassin.
Yeah.
And the power shift immediately goes, whoop, okay,
And you're like,
Malone,
yeah.
Malone's got him.
Brings a knife to a gunfight.
He's got this gun and he goes, get out of here. Blah,
Well,
blah,
he
blah, blah, blah.
says something like, you shouldn't bring a knife to a
gunfight.
gunfight. And
That's
so
right.
straight away you're like,
Yes.
ha-ha.
Ha-ha. And then you get to the front door, which has already been established as a safe space because there's nothing outside the door. And as the guy runs out the door, Malone comes to the door, the camera moves over and you see the guy in white. and he's got a machine gun.
Go on, get your ass out of here.
And he just mows down Malone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just this visceral. It's like the amount of blood sacks he must have used to get that shot.
I mean, that is just, for me, it's the worst. I mean, it's a great scene, but it's the worst scene.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's very, very emotive, but also, you know, his words.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're like, well, you can't compete with a machine gun.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I get frustrated with Ness at that point because you know, he's like on his last legs and he's leaning over and he's like he's like going like this and he's like, well, you want this chain? You want this chain?
No,
he's like, no, I don't want this.
It's the schedule
and
for
he's
the
trying.
train.
It's the only thing there apart from his other chain, but it's the main thing there. And he's like, you know, and the camera looks and then he's looking and I'm just like, for God's sake, it doesn't. You think that whole effort, I mean, he still wants to say something.
Yeah.
He's put all that effort to grab the paper.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's quite funny.
I
know it's cinematic.
It's cinematic.
But
so I mean, the movie sort of comes to this point where, as you said, you talk about the courtroom scene afterwards, and there's a bit of a chase as well. But I don't think we really need to talk too much about that. I think it's, you know, I mean, it's such a great film to watch.
Movie.
You know, there's part of me that thinks, okay, on rewatching, is it maybe a little bit hammy insofar? I mean, some people might watch it and go, "Oh, the music's too much," but I think the style kind of like, is it of its time? I
don't know. I mean, I think maybe the soundtrack that we tried to do maybe is a bit too poppy. Maybe slightly now, because that kind of, maybe that's dated it slightly, but when you get to the orchestral stuff with all the strings, I don't think so at all. One thing actually I didn't mention, and I thought that was it kind of sets you in it, is a lot of these movies where when their movies are quite dark, like this one is, I mean, the subject matter, they tend to be quite darkly graded.
Yeah.
They tend to be sort of blue grades. And the one thing I found about this movie was the actual hues of the grade is very sort of brown and pink. It feels warm, even though the subject matter is not warm content at all.
Yeah.
And in some ways, because it's, you know, set in the 30s, I wondered whether they were trying to make the film, well, I don't know if they did, but in my mind, it felt like at that time you'd have sort of sepia footage, you know?
Yeah, so trying to push away from that.
Yeah, so it was kind of like had a sepia feel, but but it was obviously in colour. And even when, you know, they come to sort of collect his family, to take his family away, which you would assume could be like a darker moment, it's at night, there's still, the lights are still quite warm.
It's still quite a bright shot, isn't it?
Quite, all the lighting on the characters was quite pink, so it felt warm. And I think in some ways that's why it feels, even though it is a dark movie, there's elements of it when you're in the warm moments, they do feel really warm.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also, I think if it was grittier, I think it would lose some of its kind of
charm,
mass appeal or charm. I mean, when I say mass appeal, it's not something you take a 5-year-old to see, but you know what I mean? It's like, it's still really palatable to watch. It's not, you're not squinting to try and figure out what's going on.
No.
I think, you know, Brian De Palma, he sets these things up really well. It's very clear where you are, what's happening. And that whole thing of him reaching for the paper, initially it's only the chain that's in focus and the paper isn't.
Yeah.
And then the paper is in focus and you're like, oh, it's the paper. I know it takes him a little bit too long to get there, but
it's just me being picky.
No, but I mean, it's true. I mean, but he does do that. I mean, he does do these very long sequences that, you know, think, does it need to be this long? But it paints it in an interesting way.
Yeah, I have no issue with the length of sequences in this movie at all. And I also think, you know, I mean, with like Capone, they do some really close up framing of De Niro's face.
I get nowhere unless the team wins.
And he doesn't really need much enhancing on his acting anyway, because he is so intense as an actor. But it really intensifies it and just shows like all the expression he has. I mean, that's all you're looking at.
Yeah.
And I find that Yeah.
He was quite a slim guy at the time as well, and he had to put on a lot of weight for this role. So there's no prosthetics or anything. It's all him, and I think that really helps as well.
Yeah.
I think it would be very jarring, wouldn't it? It would look a little bit like what was that Warren Beatty movie? It was like a
Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy with the prosthetics.
Okay, so on a rewatch. How would you gauge this?
I'd still vote this really high. I think I'd give it an 8. I think.
Yeah, I think I'd give this an 8.5. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah. It's still an enjoyable watch for me.
No, agreed. It's stunning, and I think it's one of those films. The more you watch it, the more you can pick things out in it. You know, I mean, I hadn't noticed that scene with the street before, and it's like, oh yeah, that's why they spent so much time on that street scene.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good. So.
Yeah, let us know your thoughts on this movie. We'd love to hear your comments.
Yeah.
And if you've enjoyed this chit chat, please like and subscribe.
Yep.
And
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Take care. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.